Most novels use a narrator, but one of the oldest forms lets characters speak for themselves, through their mail. What if the 18th century had its own social media feed? A stream of consciousness for the public? It did! The epistolary novel. This form gave readers a feeling of authenticity, as if they were secretly reading someone's private correspondence. And this modern idea is ancient, with roots tracing back to Roman poets before the novel as we know it even existed. We'll trace the epistolary form's evolution, from ancient letters to Dracula's telegrams, to prove its unique intimacy. So how did writing letters become a blueprint for the modern novel? It starts with simple communication becoming an art form. While letters appeared in older stories, the 17th century saw the form gain serious traction in France as a distinct style. This rise was cultural. Popular letter-writing manuals often contained mini-stories in letters, priming the audience. Simply put, epistolary fiction tells its story through documents, primarily letters, but that definition gets stretched. This groundwork led to an explosion of popularity in the 18th century, when the form became a dominant literary force. But why this format? Why were audiences so gripped by stories told in letters? The answer is three powerful advantages. First, intense realism. Letters feel genuine, private, and unedited. They create the illusion of a true story found by chance. Second, deep psychological intimacy. You aren't told what characters think, you read their thoughts in their own words. This gives you a direct, unfiltered window into their fears, hopes, and conflicts. It's a shortcut to characterization. Third, multiple perspectives. Instead of one narrator, you get several biased ones, revealing truth through their contradictions. Realism, intimacy, and perspective. These three pillars explain why the epistolary novel dominated the 18th century. These advantages created a literary phenomenon. But who was the author that took this form and conquered the literary world? That would be Samuel Richardson. His novels, Pamela and Clarissa, were cultural events that cemented the form in history. Readers would gather in public to hear the latest installments of his stories, weeping and cheering for the characters. But he stood on the shoulders of figures like Aphra Behn. Her 1684 novel was the first in English to use changing perspectives. Even authors who moved away from the form were shaped by it. Jane Austen's early work, Lady Susan, is purely epistolary. The form's total dominance inevitably led to a backlash. Great success often breeds imitation and eventually parody. By the late 18th century, the form felt stale to some. Henry Fielding's Shyamala was a ruthless parody of Richardson's Pamela. The form also had a complex relationship with gender. It was seen as a female genre, as writing letters was acceptable for women. It's also an incredibly difficult form to write. An author has to manage distinct voices and convey plot through fragments. Due to parody, shifting tastes, and its difficulty, the form faded from the spotlight. The third-person narrator became standard, but it didn't die. It evolved. So, how did a form based on handwritten letters survive into the 21st century? The answer begins in 1897 with Bram Stoker's Dracula. This wasn't just letters, it was a file of evidence. Diaries, clippings, logs. This collage of documents did something brilliant. It made the reader an investigator, piecing together the horrifying truth. Dracula provided the blueprint for the modern version. The key idea isn't just letters, it's any form of recorded communication. This brings us back to the 18th century social media stream. The technology changes, but the raw, immediate view of a story does not. The history of epistolary fiction is a story of adaptation. It shows that stories will always be told through our communications. And today, the form is thriving. Authors use emails, instant messages, and case files to create gripping, voice-driven stories. Letter subscription services are resurrecting the traditional feel of the genre with handwritten letters, photographs, and documents. The epistolary form shows storytelling's power to adapt. What's your favorite story told through documents? Let us know.